the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. Getting into the top stories, Lighthouse Center personnel, area organizations, and local government officials hosted a forum on homelessness in Washington's downtown area last week. Dozens of community members packed into the Washington Public Library for the 2-hour affair. We decided it was important to give those in the downtown community a chance to come and voice your concerns, Washington Police Chief Jim Lester said. We're here to learn more about homelessness in Washington, and hopefully we can all brainstorm together. Organizers said they knew there were no easy fixes on the complicated issue. Still, they felt the forum went well. It was more positive than I was fearing, because I was afraid we were going to get a lot of people who were very, very angry. It was very positive. It was solution-oriented. There are people who feel unsafe in our community. They have every right to be, but I think the discussion evolved in a positive manner, said Main Street Washington Executive Director Sarah Grunwald. Residents at the meeting said that they were primarily worried about personal safety. A handful said they had very scary experiences with people who lacked social connections. We've had business owners who've been followed, Grunwald said. We've had teenage staffers followed and catcalled all the way from a motor bank back to the main bank branch, and that made them uncomfortable. We had business owners teaching classes at night, and they've had people peeking in windows, people stalking. Still, many stressed that while problems with harassment and crime sometimes correlate with unhoused populations, they were not inherent. Lighthouse Center staff replied to concerns that their services were attracting homeless populations to the community rather than reducing its prominence. Darren Brown, the director of Tribulation and Trust Ministry, a faith-based organization that operates the Lighthouse Center, said most of its residents were native to the Washington area, an intentional decision by the group. We've had people come from out of the county. We usually ask them what their tie is to Washington County, he said. I have personally transported people to Des Moines. I have taken them to the Quad Cities. I have paid to put them on a bus to get them places because they're not from here and there's no reason for them to have roots here. We don't have the public transportation and things like that to help them in their need. Another causative factor is often mental health and struggles with substance abuse, both of which can make it hard for some people to hold a steady job and form positive connections. Iowa's support system is especially flawed, according to Brown. The team in Des Moines decided to take out mental health, and that we're seeing today in society is the long-term effect of that closure. These people don't have the help that they normally once got, and it snowballs. It gets worse. Washington County Mental Health and Disability Services Coordinator Bobby Wolf said she agreed. At this point in time, we have more providers in mental health than we ever had, but there's still not enough. There's a shortage of inpatient beds throughout the state. And if we don't have inpatient beds, we're forced to try to treat them in the community. Homelessness is a complicated problem born from a web of root causes. While no magic solution exists, many at the forum saw a need for increased support from the community. People cut you off because they needed to. They put boundaries, but then you're alone, said Aaron Kay, a pastor at United Presbyterian Church. That probably didn't help. It's about community. Kay said she was also worried about an us-them mentality in discussions about homelessness. I'm starting to hear some they language, and I think we have to be cautious of that, she said. People who are here, they're here. The people who are here are part of this community, so we need to include them in that way. The results of a new drinking water survey reveal a stark risk of exposure to potentially unhealthy drinking water. Risk profiles were compiled based on recent testing, use of reverse osmosis filters, and the use of supplemental water sources. The Iowa Drinking Water Survey was conducted by the Conservation Learning Group, a think tank based out of Iowa State University Extension and Outreach and the Center for Agriculture and Rural Development at Iowa State University. Around 7.6% of Iowa households, 230,000 to 290,000 Iowans, rely on private well water as their water source, said Jamie Benning, an assistant director for Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension at Iowa State. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources and the Environmental Protection Agency recommend yearly testing of private wells, but it's the owner's responsibility to test. There are no requirements of regulations related to the well water tested by homeowners. Some 73% of surveyed households are at risk of exposure to potentially unsafe water due to the lack of recent testing and avoidance and/or mitigation. This equates to a number of Iowans at risk that falls somewhere between the population of Cedar Rapids and Des Moines. 33% are categories at the highest risk level because of no testing and no avoidance. Other key findings included in the report are only 10% of households tested their water quality within the last year. Around 50% of households supplement their drinking water with bottled water or water coolers, while 70% of households report using water filters. Just 10% report having a reverse osmosis filter that can remove nitrate. Nitrate is very commonly used in agriculture, if we're in Iowa, there's a lot of agriculture, and so private wells are heavily affected by that. So if you are using a private well, getting a water filter that separates nitrate is very, very important. That is our top stories. It is now time for obituaries. DNC boss of Mount Pleasant passed away on August 24th at the age of 72. A funeral mass will be held at 10:30 a.m. on August 27th at St. Alphonsus Catholic Church in Mount Pleasant. The Olson Powell Funeral Home is assisting with arrangements. Andrew James Becker of Mount Pleasant passed away on August 20th at the age of 34. A memorial mass will be held on August 28th at 2 p.m. at St. Alphonsus Church in Mount Pleasant. Olson Powell Funeral Home is assisting with arrangements. Dennis Earl Stout of Ainsworth passed away on August 24th at the age of 83. Funeral services will be held at 1:30 p.m. August 27th at the Jones and Eden Funeral Home. Jones and Eden Funeral Home is in charge of the arrangements. Celebration of life for Alva Lee Sheridan of Packwood will be held on September 3rd at Packwood Christian Church. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we will have the weather and sports.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
Hello and welcome back to the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. We have sports coming up, but first, the weather.
The weather is brought to you by Jacqueline Ariola, LLC.
Come visit Jackie in her new location downtown. She is ready to serve Washington and the surrounding community. Today has been beautiful with mostly sunny skies and a high of 82. Tomorrow we can expect more clouds and a high of 85. On Sunday there's a 45% chance of thunderstorms along with a high of 85. The storms will continue into Monday with a 40% chance. The high for Monday will be 84. The sun will reappear on Tuesday with partly cloudy skies and a high of 85 again. So it looks like it's staying in the mid 80s for the next couple of days. That was the weather. It is now time for sports.
Sports, brought to you by Fairway.
After losing a stacked senior class ahead of 2021 volleyball season, the Waco Warriors needed a lot of new players to step up to fill the gaps. 1 year later, a more experienced Warrior squad gets set to ring in the fall. The 2021 Waco volleyball team still went 21-13 despite a steep graduating class the year before. The Warriors finished out 3-5 in conference play. The 2022 squad sees the return of almost the entire team, including in that is the top 6 killers from last year's squad. Ella Kissel returns for her senior season after sniping 244 kills in 2021. Junior Emma Wagler finished last season with 141 kills. Senior Grace Coble had 110, and junior Mary Farmer hit the 100 kill mark as well with 109. The team also returns its top 4 in digs. Seniors Jocelyn Fulton with 422 digs, Kissel with 281, and Coble with 234. All over 200 digs last year, while Haley Shellman enters her junior year after collecting 129 last season. Along with her work at the net and in digs category, Coble also dished out over 500 assists last season, finishing with 546. Waco is already 3-0 to start the season after a perfect run at the Warriors home tournament on August 22nd. The remainder of their schedule is as follows. On the 1st, they'll be at Hillcrest Academy, and then on the 3rd, they'll be at English Valleys. They'll be home on the 6th against Lone Tree, and they go back on the road to Louisa Muscatine on September 8th. Then they'll be home against Pekin, and then they have a long away stretch, the 17th against Cardinal. The 22nd is the SEISC pool play. On the 24th is the finals. And then on the 27th, they're away against Lone Tree. And then at Wapello, they'll come home on October 4th, Winfield Mount Union. Go on the road again against Columbus on the 6th, on the 8th at Washington. October 11th, they'll be home against Highland. And on October 17th is regionals. As the news for Washington, Iowa, and the surrounding area today, I've been your host, Nick Steffens. This is the Southeast Iowa Union Newsbreak, and I will see you next time.